Hello, everyone and no one, and welcome to another Rotn Movie Reviews. I'm going to go with introductions before I get into what we went over, because today we do not have James with us. He had stuff he had to do or something, or wasn't feeling, so I'm not sure. But with me, as always, is Tier Alexander. Tier, how you doing?
I'm doing great, my friend. How are you?
Oh, I'm not so bad. I remember why I wish I had a bench grinder with a buff wheel on it again.
Ah,
Buffing a Derringer with a Dremel is not fun. Then as well
Sounds
as
brutal.
we have Angela Arriaga. Angela, how you doing today?
I am doing quite well. How about you?
Not so bad. And then who decided to join us as we were watching the movie, or not technically the movie, the TV show for the first two episodes of that, we have Willet Forge.
Hey, happy
And-
to be here.
How you doing today?
It's been a nice, relaxing day, pretty much.
I mean, you're here, you're there, you're everywhere in streams, apparently.
Yeah, I am but a Padawan where Terry is the master.
Oh yeah, I can believe that.
the second coming of the
I
Stream
don't.
Horse.
I didn't go through a whole lot of the pictures on the thing for when I switch over to this because, well, I didn't want to get too far in the series now. But we watched the first two episodes of Tremors, the TV series, and I will have to say, why the fuck didn't I watch this show sooner? My God, I am loving this show.
It is so fun.
Just it's so good. I mean, obviously you still have freaking Burt Gummer. How the hell
Well,
he's
you-
not higher up than that? Damn it.
You can't have the show without Bert. Just
You can't.
would not be worth it.
Oh yeah. Michael Grossman, that
It
was
is
it.
not Tremors. Gross. Just gross. No man.
No, that's his name is Michael Grossman.
His name is Michael Gross.
Oh yeah, it is gross. Damn it. Why is the thing for this so stupid? Oh, there he is. I missed. I don't know why they have him down so far, but this time, we have Victor Brown. He's playing Tyler Reed. Basically taking over for Jack. We still have Marcia Strassman and Layla Lee that were in the third. Well, Marcia was also in the first movie. Coming back as Nancy. And we got the dude who played Melvin. He's in at least a couple episodes, and just
Ugh.
oh god, I am digging the hell out of this movie. This TV show.
Mhm.
Melvin's a dick, and I hope he gets the comeuppance.
I didn't know how they were going to go with it, but I will say this makes the next movie make more sense to me now.
Which movie is the next movie?
The next movie is Bloodlines, because we already watched the Back to Perfection, the prequel.
Okay.
Yes, we've watched the first three, then we watched Back to Perfection, just because the prequel could be done whenever, but honestly, I think it's best done after the first three movies. And then we went to this to the TV show because I was like, I got to get this, and I found it on Amazon, I think, for like $20, and I was because it's extremely difficult to find anywhere else.
And I'll just say a bargain at twice the price.
Yeah.
It is fun. Oh my
I mean, it's a 2003 TV series. The CGI isn't the absolute best, but it's not horrendous. I mean,
Oh,
this is like a sci-fi TV show, but better, in my opinion.
Yeah,
And
so
yeah, to
About
be
that
honest,
world.
part of what makes Tremors awesome is the low budget effects and
Well, they stick with a lot of practical for most things,
They
and
did.
mhm.
they try not to go too overboard, but also not trying to be like too bare bones with the CGI.
They do a really good balance of making it believable in the Tremors universe.
Yeah, because
Yes.
when in the first episode when El Blanco, he comes up under the freaking the shop, and
the
they're like,
ranch house.
yeah, no, not the
Mhm.
ranch house, in the shop.
Yeah.
Near the end, like they did a lot of practical effects for that. Like I always love that the little grabbers of the graboids, they always do or like 90% of the time do practical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean, they even did a lot of practical effects for the Shriekers in episode 2, and even in the original or second movie.
But you can clearly tell that they were CGI in the fight.
Dude, this was 2003. You could tell when anything was CGI, you could tell it was CGI.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, going back to the first three movies, 1990, 1996, and 2001, they had to be heavy into the practical because CGI at that time.
Was still fancy.
Yeah,
I mean the first one was the first one was great because it was a really good horror movie, and I think for the second one they expanded upon it very well, and I even say for the third and the prequel. Of all fucking prequels I've watched, the Tremors prequel is, I have to say, one of my by far favorite prequels.
Yeah, it's a good. It's well done.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only thing that had a little bit of a funky flavor on the prequel was how much they pushed for basically making everybody identifiable, stereotypical ancestors to the current times characters.
Yeah.
And it didn't pull you out of immersion. It's just kind of like, it's a little bit of that campy extra touch, which, how you take it depends entirely on your general feeling for camp in general.
Yeah. Well, on that one, I think they did it with a thing, because from the way it also sounded, other than a few people, it was that whole thing. For perfection, it'd been the same families there for a while.
Right. It was definitely with intent.
Yeah. And it's not like I think the only one that really wasn't, because it would be the Hispanic. The only one who didn't really have anything after that would be the native guy.
I got a few questions about this world. This all right. So we know these things exist. Like they're national news, and you're telling me that they haven't what's the word for created effective defenses against these things.
Bro, Maui is on fire. They still have barely fixed anything in East Palestine, Ohio. You think that universe that has the same exact style of government we do is going to be any fucking better?
Right,
no, there's a reason why the leading experts are private citizens.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to ignore it.
Well, you get a combination of trying to ignore it, and the funny thing that people kind of get messed up. Everybody talks about military grade this, military grade that, and everything. Military grade is the lowest possible semi-effective at the lowest possible cost bid for it.
I say military,
civilian grade
is not. If you're going to go for anything, you go for military spec, not military grade. Because, like you said, military grade is every contract or everything done for the military or government in general for those things is always done via bidding. So there's a bidding war. But instead of being like an auction where the price keeps going up, it's the price steadily goes down. And since it's a government contract, they're already paying way too much for it. So the shitty part is like, that's why every time I hear someone be like, well, you've got military grade firearms. Don't you insult my guns that way, boy.
Yeah. I've got a handgun right here that is better than military issue handgun.
My Beretta M9 that I bought myself is exponentially better than the one that I got to test with in the military.
Yeah, and it's just, the difference between military grade and civilian grade is that the civilian grade is better quality but has fewer features.
Yeah.
No select fire. Okay. But it's a whole lot better functioning.
And plus, you also have to look at the whole fact that they'd have the bureaucracy of it. It's like we were saying, It's like they have to go through who's going to have the lowest bidder. The lowest bidder, they're going to go through to do it as cheap as possible. That's like, to easily explain it, the Chicago typewriter, the Thompson submachine gun.
Mm-hmm.
The old one that everyone knows of for mobsters and whatnot. Got that front forward grip, 50 round drum.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the difference between that and then the M1A variant that or the M1 variant that the Thompson submachine gun that the military used. They reduced it down because, for one, the guy who was originally going off it for his principle that he was using, he was retarded, and they finally just brought it to a blowback. But they just had to reduce it as much as possible. So they go through of, we can manufacture it this way, but now we have to manufacture it as cheap as possible. Like, look at the submachine gun that preceded the M1 Thompson. The M2 never even saw service. The M3 grease gun that came out near the tail end of World War II
Mm-hmm.
stopped service, I think in the Army it was around 1993, 1996.
Really?
Yep. And quite literally, it was a tube with a screw-on barrel. Like, they went through
Ouch.
as, oh, you look into shit they did for a lot of that stuff. It is because they had, they're manufacturing something for war, so it has to be made cheaply, effective, and fast. And
Yeah,
something
it's
like
42 to 92 for the M3.
Yep.
Okay.
So 50
Yeah, so-
years.
So bringing it back to the question, you run into a situation like this. Yeah, the government's got bigger, badder booms, but when it comes to a specialized service like this, there's a reason why the government contracts so much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is because the contractors aren't bound by the same limitations. They can have better tech, better functioning, better service, and everything. They can't match things where the government can effectively run an unlimited budget, like air power,
Yeah.
naval power. So you get into the smaller things like specializing in satellites or a semi-obscure, thought to be extinct, no longer extinct life form that is a threat to humanity in general. It's going to be the private citizens that have the expertise to deal with it and resolve it. It's not it's not the army or it's not the army or the National Guard that's going to know what to do there. It's going to be the survivalists like Bert or
Yeah.
the rednecks like what's his name,
Tyler in this one.
Tyler.
Yeah, because he's replaced the guy who played Jack in the third movie.
You can't keep them straight.
Yeah. Well, for this one, the two main characters we're dealing with are Tyler Reed, and Burt Gummer. They're the
Right.
main. I mean, you still have Nancy from the first movie, Jodie Chang, who took over for her dad or her grandfather, and then Rosalita, who took over for her uncle Miguel. God, I was still so pissed they took out Miguel in the third movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, any of the originals you do, like, man, especially if they make it through the first one, it sucks to take them out later. It's like, you bastards.
Well, I mean, because it's not until the sixth movie when you get to see Valentine's daughter. So Valentine and the archaeologist, so Kevin Bacon's character and the geologist character, they get married and have a daughter, and she gets to be in the sixth movie. But yeah, like, they brought the chick who played Nancy, the guy who played Miguel, obviously Bert, and I think the only character that people are like, I'd want to see him die would be the character of Melvin.
Melvin.
And the sad part is when you look at what should have been in the first movie, because I got to see some extras on there, was originally during the first movie, the reason why Melvin was by himself is because his parents left to go to Vegas or something, basically to go on holiday, and just didn't take him.
Oh,
They went on vacation and just fucking left him there by himself.
wow.
So it does kind of make sense of why Melvin would be a dick, because
Such
he
a
was
shit.
he was grasping for any attention he could get.
He
Now, he's an adult now, and he should have fucking moved out of it, but he hasn't.
Yeah, arrested development. It happens.
Yeah, like, it made sense of the way he was for the first movie. After that, he should have changed.
But he locked into who he was and
Yeah.
should have changed becomes not gonna change.
Well, yeah, he became a lot like his parents are, from my understanding, supposed to be. They're more about greed and that whole thing.
You know what would be a great callback to the first movie? Have Reba McEntire's character pop up.
Oh, I miss Heather. I have to admit that.
Like, she sees him and maybe she's big game hunting graboids or some dumb shit. And she brings the gun she took just to piss him off.
That makes, you don't have to worry about that one. That makes a reappearance in the next movie, that gun. So that wouldn't make any sense for that. I wouldn't mind seeing her character make an appearance, but it really doesn't make much sense anymore, considering the fact they got a divorce and everything. But to go back to the show of what you're talking about, like, oh, why hasn't the government done anything? And it's just like, again, it's that whole shit of, like, look at the shit that happens in so many areas of why, like, they'll go to fix a road. And depending on what work crew they have doing it, who bid for it, something that was supposed to take 6 months takes 2 years.
Well, that's a combination of three things. Because that's no oversight, greed, and no oversight.
Dodge,
See,
dive, and dodge.
So it's 2 no oversights and greed.
Yeah, pretty much. So, all right, in my city,
Well, it's I wouldn't just say oversight. It's also a lack of proper planning.
that could be another thing.
But before we get into more of basically just bitching about the government and that whole thing, like, looking of who they actually going to have in this, like, we're going to get 3 episodes with Christopher Lloyd as well. Just to give you a heads up.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yep.
Christopher Lloyd's always a great character.
And I know the guy who was telling, Rosalita to not work so hard. He was this other TV Renegade. I saw a couple episodes of that with my dad. And I was like, hey, that's the dude from Renegade. From that one show.
Mhm. With Lorenzo Lamas.
Yep.
I've never seen Renegade, or if I did, I don't quite recall it.
Renegade is a
It's
weird show that
basically
only
Walker, Texas Ranger with a really hot guy as the lead.
It wasn't Walker, Texas Ranger, because it's former cop who got pinned with the crime of supposedly murdering his girlfriend or fiance or whatever that he didn't. So he's basically on the run chasing after an organization. So I wouldn't say Walker, Texas Ranger. It's Walker, Texas Ranger-esque, but more like the Hulk. The Hulk's thought process, or I shouldn't say thought process, but like where he's
Walker,
trying to.
Texas Ranger and the Incredible Hulk had a baby, it would be Renegade.
But it's
a baby that was the stepbrother of
it's one
Fugitive.
Of those, it's one of those things that, yeah, I'd be close to the Fugitive, but like a mixture of Walker, Texas Ranger and the Fugitive. But it's one of those things that it could only take place when it went through or when it was done. Because in today's current age, it's just be exponentially more difficult. Like, that's one of the reasons why, like, Supernatural eventually had to end.
He was in Jake and the Fat Man.
Why is it only today that I'm learning that there's like a 7th movie?
Oh, Shrieker Island?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have yet to watch that one, but there is talks as well of having Michael Gross come back and retconning the 7th, like plausibly they're retconning the 7th, or right after the TV series and rebooting it from there. Because like Sci-Fi tried to reboot the series from after the first movie. I think they even got Kevin Bacon back for it, but they never released the initial movie that was supposed to go into that TV series. Because yes, there was supposed to be a Sci-Fi movie.
Yeah, this Freaker Island was direct to video.
Well, so was Tremors 5, and well, I mean, honestly, since like Tremors 2, it's been direct to video.
Yeah, I'd say I saw 5. I saw Cold Day in Hell. I saw Legend Begins. I've seen all those others. I hadn't heard of Shrieker Island. I mean, it's only 3 years old, but
Yeah, like I still just haven't watched it, and when we got discussing it of using the Tremors movies as a palate cleanser, I was like, well, I think I'd ordered the show and was just like, well, we can do the show as well. And honestly, it's going to make the opening to sit or the fifth movie exponentially make more sense now.
Shit, there was supposed to be a game of this.
But I
See,
do.
this one and the prequel are the only ones that I hadn't seen.
So I will still say I do like that they're starting to bring the Grabloids and the Shriekers and Ass Blasters to like different areas, so it wasn't just perfection.
yeah, and
So
that's
it's like 2 is down in Mexico, then 3 is back in New Mexico, I want to say, and obviously 4 is there as well. 5 is in Africa, 6 is in Canada, and the show is done perfection, part of Arizona. So it's just one of those things. But the one thing that I will say that I could not believe they did with Bert and that whole thing, especially after the second movie, or the first movie, the second movie, and the third movie, would be that, you know, he has the rifle for the second episode, that he has the M4, well, like a mix of an M4 M16. They give Tyler the like a underfolder AK platform, and they take one fucking mag apiece, except for Bert also has a Desert Eagle for a sidearm. It's just like,
yeah. There's
what? A survivalist has one fucking mag?
Yeah.
yeah. They've got one gun each. Bert's got a sidearm. They've got one mag per weapon, and they went into this with you can have any weapons you ask for. Bert alone, he would be walking in strapped with mags. The guy would be staggering from the weight of extra ammunition.
Oh, dude,
I want to know
fuck
why
that.
Probably a second gun compatible with those magazines, just in case the first one.
Honestly, he'd have a thing like that, but he would have also had a fucking belt fed mount on his truck.
Yeah.
That's
because why wouldn't you do that if you're going to be dealing with Shriekers? You put a belt fed mount on your truck, so that way you can still keep the engine running, bring them towards you, and hey, guess what? Bop 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 bop.
That's when he would go with the actual infantry weaponry. I had a coworker who he said we got to play with this. It's a vehicle mounted belt fed grenade launcher, and the only purpose of such a weapon is zombie apocalypse, basically. Bert would have that in episode 2.
Oh yeah,
he had
I don't know what he has concussive grenades because they're non-lethal. And what's up,
but
Shio?
they do a number on graboids, but they're non-lethal to humans. But he goes into this contract situation on the understanding you can have for this any weaponry any guns, any weaponry you want.
I don't think they'd have went with the grenades just because of the plausibility of extra damage being done. Because the government's
paying the liability insurance, you can get anything.
And that whole thing, the government's going to be like, okay, we're trying to keep excessive damage down to a minimal.
Okay, fair point. Still stick a Gatlin in the bed
And
of the
as the
truck.
sperm swam violently towards the egg, I couldn't help but think I've ruined this fried breakfast. Jesus, Gio, you got some issues, brother.
What is wrong with you, dude?
Pretty sure, like most of us, the shorter list is what's right.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
short list is right. All right, so you know these people, these creatures are attracted to body heat.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you? Two things. Why didn't you bring something that could produce a lot, like a flamethrower or a torch or something that would produce a lot of
Fucking
heat?
heat lamp.
They
A
had
heat lamp,
flares.
something that would
Yeah.
attract them.
Well, they did
and you
they
could
did the
got them together
flares,
all at once. Huh?
but the whole thing was because it's a TV show, there has to be the drama. So this can't be like what we would have wanted to do. This is why, like,
yeah, but it turns Bert into an idiot.
well, no, because he even flat out says that this was at the decision of the Fish and Wildlife guy and Tweeter. I think it was Tweeter is his name.
Yeah.
Whatever his name is, I know.
Dead
who
Twitchell.
you're
meat.
talking about.
Twitchell.
Twitchell, that's the guy.
For the purpose of this review, we'll call him Government Ass 1.
Well, this is Twitchell, the one who is basically the one who approved the forms of whether they can do the shit on the land where El Blanco lives.
Yeah. Twitchell,
Which-
Twitchell is one.
I
The
will
guy who dies is number 2.
Yeah. Which I will say, from what it seems like for the third or the fifth movie, I think El Blanco might die by the end of this series.
Oh no.
Well, I only say that because, and like, to a little bit of a spoiler, in the opening of the third or the fifth movie, like, he's out in the desert, and I just don't remember if he's actually out in, like, the same desert he lives in, or if he's in a different area.
Yeah, it's been a while since 5, so I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember him clarifying it. Because there's a plausibility that he probably would have went to a different area. They don't clarify who or where he is. From what I can remember, it's been a while. All I know is that this movie was just a movie. Because I love the movie series, but the goddamn TV show, I cannot believe I never fucking saw it
Mhm.
before.
You are fixing a wrong.
Yeah, so am I.
I do
This
love
is-
I do love the fact that he went from using the single shot 50 BMG Grizzly to a fucking semi-auto 50 Barrett.
Well, it's not just the power of one shot that you have to keep in mind with graboids. It is how many, and streakers, and that it's how many shots can you put out successively and how quickly.
Well, originally because he uses the Grizzly in 2, and the part of 3 he has it because the Grizzly was made for just hunting graboids. So for that one, it wasn't worrying so much about how many shots you had to have. This is where it gets a little dirty. It was about penetration.
Ha.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
To quote one of my favorite movie lines from Dirty Harry. So it's not about the power; it's about the penetration.
Oh, that would be from the 4th movie.
Third one. It's the third one. It's the one with the female, fucking.
I thought that was the 4th movie.
No,
Because
I
the
believe-
4th movie has the auto mag. So yeah, you're right on that one.
Yeah, the fourth one is fucking Magnum Force.
Yeah, I think the second one's actually Magnum Force.
No, that's the second one is the second one Magnum Force? Because in the second one, no, I think the one I'm talking about is the second one because fucking.
The second one they do, a man's got to know his limitations.
No, that's
That's
Magnum.
the second. Yeah, that's the second one, Magnum Force. You're thinking the Enforcer.
The
Because
enforcer.
the one I was
'Cause
thinking
that's
was the one I was thinking was sudden impact, to where they actually use an auto mag, the a variation of what was supposed to be a semi-automatic 44 Magnum esque, because it was using like 308 brass.
Yeah.
But because it was cobbled, like there were two working-ish firearms that were cobbled together out of like the stuff a gunsmith had in his basement, that they had to keep a diver on set for when he was doing the final shootout, because at one point Clint Eastwood got so pissed off he called it a piece of shit, and threw it into the water.
Damn.
Oof.
Yep.
What is the one that is it? Death, not Death Wish. The Death Game. Is it the Death Game? The one with Agent Chong, his agent partner.
Oh, that's the Deadpool.
The Deadpool. There it is.
That's how they originally got the whole thing for, if I remember correctly, for how Deadpool came to be.
Yeah, the Deadpool.
But
I love it.
otherwise, they still had some good ideas for some guns in here, or had some cool guns there. I did like the whole volleying with the black powder.
Yeah, that was an interesting twist. I gotta tell you, I was still, part of me is like, he's gonna get there and it's gonna be like this ever-loving arsenal of airsoft guns that he's gonna have to come up with some
I was figuring
cobbled together solution instead.
Yeah, I was figuring freaking non-functioning replicas, but the black powder was a nice touch. I was almost half expecting to see a fixed bayonets men. But instead
Burt Wood.
Yes. Instead we got, don't fire till you could see the whites of their heat-seeking organs.
I do like how they did a rotational firing squad. Like
Yeah,
that
he did that. Well, they knew that they could only do so many shots in that, so having everyone fire at once was retarded, because you'd just be dead.
yeah.
So
Right.
yeah, he used I wouldn't say an old British tactic, but an old warring tactic for when they had to use those. You had a set amount of them fire first, and then as that happens, one line draws back so they can reload.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
like the only thing to pull you out of immersion there is a bunch of baseball players being competent to quickly reload black powder muskets. I mean,
well, they did kind of make it clear that they're the type of people who would do Civil War reenactments.
Yeah.
So they know how to do that.
Only like one of them was the whole I don't really know. The rest all picked up really good, like they'd done this before.
No, first powder, then ball. You hit it the other way around. Nothing happens, and then you die.
Yeah. Oh God.
What I did like is that it shows. Oh, that was a weird sound. It shows that Bert is actually really familiar with actual old war procedure as well.
Oh yeah, like if you looked at his
like military combat procedure.
Oh yeah, if you paid attention to, I want to say, bits and pieces of the first movie, and definitely bits and pieces of the second movie, because he hadn't lost his house then. He had old war weapons as well, because he's a collector, and on a lot of those things as well, they had him reading like books and magazines on top of that.
Yeah.
Chio,
I'm just saying that they made it very clear that he's not just
not
just a kook.
He's not just a crazy survivalist.
Is paying attention.
No, he's a preeminent survivalist. He is studied. He is practiced. He is experienced.
And I'm going to pause you guys for just a second. Shio, I don't mind you making jokes. Just don't do anything that's going to get my channel in trouble, please. That's all I ask.
It's channel.
Well, it's Shio. You just knocked out 9/10 of his material.
I mean, I've only got like 23 subscribers, so they're probably not paying attention to me anytime soon. Plus, I'm not monetized, so they don't care about me as much. I mean, with the shit Polly's done on his channel, I'm pretty sure I'm okay.
Oh man, Ferris wheels are predominantly steel. If they were aluminum, they'd be non-Ferris wheels. Oh, come on. That is fucking hilarious.
Oh no, I still like the one where it goes. So I went to a pet store and was looking at birds and was just like, hey, the making of this bird cage, is it what's the metal in it? They started going through. I was like, oh, so it doesn't have any nickel. I'm like, don't do it. I'm like, so it's a Nicolas Cage.
Ah, ah, ah.
Ugh,
I
that
can,
one even hurt me.
That's terrible, but that's great too.
It was awesome. It was awesomely bad.
But I will definitely say for this, I have been thoroughly enjoying. I kind of wish we could have gotten to the third episode because like I just wanted to keep going.
Oh, for sure. It's like I don't have to work tomorrow. I don't have to get up in the morning. I can get up in the afternoon.
But I was like, I don't want to do too much. I'm almost tempted to be like, I only had to go to the gym, and I know I was going to help my dad with, like, me and my brother are supposed to help my dad with the flagpole. Unless he's got the buffing wheel on a grinder, I might just come back and see if y'all want to just go through. So it's like go through more of this. Like the only thing I'll stop for is to watch the AAA. Because just holy shit, this movie is just. Or, I keep saying movie because I've seen some of the movies. The fucking TV show is awesome.
This show,
okay, I missed something.
is
So apparently Bert did have more than one mag in the thing because he had him jungle taped to each other. So I will change what I'm sharing, change Windows to so you guys can see it. Everyone else can't, but I'm going to go back to this real quick and I'm just going to change to here. But yeah, he's got a little banana mag style thing going where he tapes them together.
okay. But still, only two. Say in that case, only two magazines and a sidearm.
And of all sidearms, you go with a Desert Eagle that, in that whole thing is probably a 357 Magnum, so it's not going to be near as reliable.
Yeah, and you gotta figure you're dealing with shriekers. It's not like you need graboid level penetration in that.
Oh, it looks like because of the time frame, it would have been a 50 Action Express, so it would have actually been more likely to cycle and work properly. Because
but overkill, and then Tyler starts double tapping them, and it's like,
well,
no, you got a Deagle 50.
You got at most 7+1 rounds, if all memory serves me correctly.
You got a Deagle 50. You got an unknown number of shriekers at this point, and
you got to try to line them up.
You know that a single headshot will put it down. Why the hell are you double tapping? But at least it was Tyler forgetting to make sure that he had extra magazines on that than Bert. Bert probably had 3 or 4 magazines for it.
Yeah, for like that, I'd have probably, because at the time frame you could have done it, like I'd have probably went with a good solid copper or hard cast lead like 40 Smith & Wesson. I mean, it's not a 10 mil, or I'd have went with a fucking 10 mil.
Well, I mean, at the time frame, there are 10 mils and 40s and 44s with a double stack that are reliable.
Not a 44,
reliably built handguns.
Not a 44 Magnum, a 40 Smith & Wesson and like a 10 mil, yes. Yeah. Because you had the G22 and obviously the G20.
But Bert would also never get I mean, really, Bert would not get caught out with only one sidearm.
Yeah, considering the second movie. Well, in the third movie,
not unless he's, not unless he is. I guess it kind of set the stage for that a little bit with the
third movie.
Well, the prepper, the losses,
yeah,
and trying to come up with, but he'd still.
Well,
I mean,
no,
even eating cactuses, he'd come up with a way to have an extra handgun.
In the third, it makes sense in the third movie and kind of in this to where he'd have that, because like with the way he was doing most of it, he wasn't expecting to be stuck out somewhere. So like in the third movie, he only carries the Desert Eagle as his one sidearm.
Mm-hmm.
It's only in the second movie to where, because the Mexican government gave him everything that he wanted, that he carried 2 Berettas as well. 2 Inox Berettas at that.
Right, but here the government's promising whatever guns he asks for. He's not going to ask for like 1 Deagle. No, he's going to have at least 2.
Honestly, in that situation, like you could, like I said, you could have went with a G20, G22, a fucking Beretta 96. I mean, instead of getting the 15 rounds of 9mm like a 92 FS or an M9 gets, you get like 12 plus 1 of 40 Smith & Wesson, and that's still better than 7 plus 1 potentially rounds of 50 Desert Eagle, 50 Action Express.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually got someone here I can talk gun with, so you guys just gonna kind of have to deal with it a little bit.
It's okay. I'm learning.
Well, I don't have.
Or I'm pretending that I'm learning, and
I
I
don't
can ask you
have
the
this
questions
with everyone else, and I have no problem answering questions and that whole thing. Like, that's why I would love to talk with Polydub. I'm thinking of reaching out to Unholy Reaper to see if he'd like to do a stream sometime to where we just bullshit with guns. There's a couple others in like Sinatra's Discord that I'd like to see if they'd like to bullshit of like things we'd like to see done in the firearms community and like the firearms industry as well. But yeah, like it still makes more sense of like if Bert were going to do something like that to have a revolver. Granted, in one of the episodes we're going to get to see later on, it's definitely a Wildcat cartridge, but freaking Dan Wesson revolver's pretty fucking sweet.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've got a Dan Wesson revolver. Because Dan Wesson was originally part of Smith & Wesson, if memory serves me correctly. But he went off his own, so his stuff looks a little similar, but has a little bit differences enough to keep it up. And his the Dan Wesson revolver I have almost rivals my old school Colt Python for single and double action. And we're talking like Colt back in its prime of production. Because until CZ took him over, Colt was like, they were very, very mediocre. Oh, what's up, Johnny? I didn't have a chance to ask Will to send me a thing, so I just edited. I'd say edited, but I just added a thing to your. Obviously, he's you, and you're on your alt account.
God damn it! God damn it, Johnny! Get off your alt account. But what up, Hellcat?
Yeah. But good lord, this show has just been 2 episodes in, and I'm absolutely loving it.
This show is what binge watching was invented for.
Yes.
Yes.
I do love when McLean, that was the wildlife and fish and wildlife guy. They get to the water plant, and this guy, the security guard, black guy, is just like, hey, this is private property, this and that. You guys aren't supposed to be here. And they pull out the guns, and he's just like, okay, I know what to do. Because he's like, get inside. He's like, blah, blah, blah. And I can see your body heat. And he's just like,
okay.
Oh, yeah, he's like, I don't understand the concealment. He's just like, okay, 3 white boys with guns. One's got an Uzi. It's like AK, M14. It's like AK, M4, and an Uzi. I'm just going to walk away.
Yeah, I'm not going to mess around here.
That is what we call a sane individual.
Yeah, and he survived it. That was
I was gonna say that's what we call survival instinct.
Yeah, he saw that, was just like, you know what? You got a point.
I'm not
gonna
gonna
go around.
I'm not gonna play the FAFO game.
He's just like, you know, you make a valid point. I'm gonna go inside, take my break, and have a snack.
I don't get paid enough to deal with this shit.
I was almost half expecting to hear Danny Glover, or yeah,
I'm too old for this shit.
I can't do that one as well. I was still surprised yesterday when I found out I could do with the claw from Inspector Gadget.
It
Yeah.
was good. Oh my god!
Now I'm gonna have to do an
I
opening for
almost
Tear
died.
Down. I will say I do like the fact they don't shy away from having some of the blood on screen, but they have shied away from being as violent for, you know, how people die, because obviously this was meant to be a TV show.
Yeah, and some of the
they just show the gore afterwards.
Yeah, the closest you got is to when the hiker dies in the first episode. I will say that was definitely an homage to Jaws, because they had him getting drug while he's half in the ground.
That
it's like
pretty wild.
That's not how graboids work.
Yeah, they just sucked his ass right on down.
Yeah, most of this was on the Sci-Fi Channel, and it does suck the fact that it didn't get any further. But we'll see how far it goes, because God,
yeah, that just really, really good handling of it. And yeah, they haven't shied away from that. They skip out from the actual killing scenes. They get you to the start of the attack and the after effects of it primarily. And,
yeah, they do the same thing a lot of shows have done, to where, you know, like when what was that? Bill dies, that he's just like, you hear the and then the shooting, and then they come up to see the bones.
Yeah,
which is pretty funny, because like some of the bones look like clean. It's just like,
yeah, they're a little campy on the effects for the bones and stuff versus what you'd really expect from the rest. But it probably lets them get away with having less gore in it.
I forgot they had Michael Rooker in this. He's been in a lot of stuff. Dude's a good actor. Because he plays Michael Rooker was, you know, he's in Walking Dead season 1. Then he most likely died. But he was also in Slither.
Oh, you're talking about Merle?
Yeah,
Daryl's brother.
Yep.
I forget his name is Michael Rooker.
I mean, that dude's been in a whole bunch of stuff.
I think his best role for me was Slither.
Oh shit, I forgot he was in The Sixth Day. The Replacement Killers. Fuck, I gotta rewatch Tombstone again one of these days.
Yeah,
he was in Tombstone.
I'll watch that sometime. Yeah, that's the one thing I know from that.
Tombstone.
I'll be your Huckleberry. Oh fuck yeah, he was.
Goddamn, Val Kilmer is a fucking treasure in that movie.
He was in an episode of Burn Notice.
Who? Michael Rooker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This show has just been fun, but I mean it's funny the fact that they had to play into some of the camps, like someone used a Tech 9. Like, I know a lot of people don't like the remake of Red Dawn. I didn't think it was absolutely terrible, but I'm also
It wasn't awful.
But I do.
It wasn't great.
Oh, it wasn't great by any means. There were definitely some good things in it, like when the one thing failed, so the dude takes the guns and everything that they had, and he throws them over a fence so he can get himself and one of the girls out of there. So he ditches anything they would have had that would have let them make them think they were part of it. But they bring a Tech 9 in there, and the one kid's like, these guns are awesome, and the Hemsworth character, you know, fires them, and they're horrendously inaccurate. because it's a fucking machine pistol. That's why, like, my one criticism, and this is my one criticism of many things, and I was really glad they actually had Bert shoulder his fucking gun. Because that shit pisses me off so much.
The less you brace it, the less accurate you're going to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, the dude with the AK variant, Norinco technically, Tyler, it made a little sense. At least he had it slung in over the one arm and was pulling it forward, so that kind of does a single point sling type thing. But still, it's just like, can you aim it? That's like the dude with the fucking Uzi. Where's the buttstock on it, you fucking retard?
Yeah, there's a reason why you typically see them, you know, in a lot of like the movies and shows and everything with the essentially it's a folding stock of sorts that allows you to shoulder the stupid thing, because the recoil on those means you have no control if you can't brace it well.
Yeah. That's one of the things that's just always bothered me. Like, at least in this movie as well. That movie, god damn it. I want to say movie because the episodes are longer. But in one part,
and it fits right into a movie series rather than.
And other than the Desert Eagle, because I haven't seen it. Like when he hands it to Tyler, it's the reason why I said I don't think it was the +1 is because technically the safety was on and the hammer was down. And a Desert Eagle is a single action only without a decocker. But in one of the episodes with a 1911, they actually have the hammer back when they're showing it. I mean, granted, when they showed it in the first episode, the dirt biker has a 1911 and that fucking hammer's forward. And it's like, I just hate it when they don't do that. Or it's like when they do that, it's like, it's not how the firearm works. Annoys me so much. I know some people don't care about it, but it's just like, fuck. Because then you always see like one of those movies, they'll fucking pull the hammer down. They're like, why didn't you have the hammer back in the first place, you fucking retard? And that makes no sense for Bert. Like, it'd make more sense to have him carrying a gun cocked and locked than it would to be, no round in the chamber, especially when, you might have to use that against a shrieker.
Yeah, Bert would be totally ready to fire. But Bert would be the whole he's the kind that Crowder talks as 7+1. He's got the one in the chamber too.
Yeah.
Yo, can I get the one in the chamber?
Well, because you have your actual magazine capacity. So like a Beretta, the M9, the magazine holds 15 rounds. So you would typically, most people would load the full magazine into the firearm, rack the slide, and then either put the safety on, which the Beretta does a safety decocker, unless you have a decocker only model. But then you would have one in the chamber and 14 rounds in the mag still. Like, even some video games will allow you to do it to where if you reload, it's like if you reload the gun from empty, it won't show all 15. It'll show 15, but you can reload it again and it'll show 16 because you dropped a partially empty mag. That's why, like, if you reload when you still have ammo in it, you have 16 rounds instead of 15.
I prefer guns that have infinite ammo clips.
Well, unfortunately, those don't. Go ahead, Angela.
In an optimal situation, people would be able to actually have those.
Well, as I say, unfortunately, we live in a world where those don't exist.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yet.
I mean, even with the laser gun, it's gonna have like so much until you gotta add it. They change its power source or something.
I was gonna say.
Right.
You'd have to recharge the fucker.
Yeah,
But-
true, but still, I can dream. Damn it.
I mean, I do that shit for video games because I don't for a lot of video games because I've either beaten them or I just don't care. But I'll still say for this show, they kept very true to the first 4 movies. Well, technically 3 movies. I think this came out before the 4th movie.
Well, the
Yes.
show was
Yes, the show came out before the 4th movie, the prequel. So
show was 2003.
in
So you had 90, 96, and 2001, and the prequel is 2004.
prequel's 2004. Was it a TV show? Was that one? But yeah, they kept it pretty well good to the first 3 movies.
And you figure you take that they were shooting it around the same time they were shooting the movie.
Probably.
You know, would have been a better or a more interesting TV show. Have it set in the time of the prequel.
That takes things longer than they should have. Like for prequels, you don't really want them to go on too far unless it's your initial beginning of something. Because just like
A limited TV show with 1 season of just all them trying to get in.
still, it could work, but I'd honestly say for the prequels, it usually works better as strictly a 1 movie thing.
Mm-hmm. Now they could have taken rather than the prequel movie and had a 1 season TV series.
This one probably could have done it, but a lot of movies it doesn't work so well for it.
Well, yeah, but
Because
a lot of movies the prequels are just
Dog shit anyway.
trash. Yeah, they're trash trying to patch together holes from the whole other thing, and
But
as a whole, Tremors stands up as a pretty solid story in its own universe.
It does.
yeah, and I just think with how the prequel movie is, I wouldn't want to see it as a TV show. I think it would just throw it off a little too much. It'd take away from what it was. Because you gotta, if you think about it, the prequel did have a lot of campiness to it, like you said, of the campiness of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had the campiness of, Bert being, instead of being a survivalist and, weapons enthusiast, he's a rich guy who just wanted to live a life of luxury.
He's an Eastern
Yeah.
tenderfoot.
The reluctantly forced into it.
Yeah, fish out of water thing. It's one of the few ones to where the fish out of water thing isn't done absolutely fucking terribly. But it's one of those things as well that it's not like fish out. It's the fish out of water that nobody. So it's basically it's in everybody's a fish out of water in this situation.
And can we get a shout out to the punt gun there?
Yeah. Now the funny thing with that one, if I go back over to this real quick. Scroll, go back to Legend Begins.
When anything must absolutely be destroyed immediately.
No, he killed one with it.
Right.
The funny thing about that one is the gunner from that one, is the 2-inch A-gauge punt gun. And the funny thing is like since authentic firing punt guns are rare and none could be acquired for the sheen at the time, a 94-pound, 8-foot 4-inch prop was built.
Wow.
Yeah. Says the entire
That's
trigger
commitment.
the entire trigger assembly of the prop swings down to allow the loading of a internal 12-gauge shotgun, which used triple load powder blanks. The WD-40 lubricant was sprayed inside the barrel to add the smoke cloud produced for the punt gun when it was fired.
Wow.
That is commitment to the result.
That's a fucking armorer stepping the fuck up.
That's when he says, like, can't we just do this for half the budget that you're asking for this particular part of the project? Like, not if you want it to look good.
You want explosions or what?
Huh.
But it is one of the things that I have, like, because they've been pretty, for the most part, they're pretty accurate with the guns. So I'm willing to give a little bit of leeway. I understand it was the early aughts.
Mm-hmm.
There's still just, that's one of the things that's always annoyed me. It's like, because NCIS had a stint of it until I think like season 4 or 5 or something, to where like firearms enthusiasts and actual military members like were sending in emails and letters to the actual production department and whatnot. They're like, would you stop leaving the hammer forward on 1911s? That's not how it fucking works, and you're supposed to be more authentic. So they actually started doing a cocked and lock thing, and then it wasn't until they kind of reverted back a little bit in like season 15 or some shit.
I mean, you can carry a 1911 chambered and decocked. It's just like the least desirable, least safe method of carrying it.
I mean, it's still effectively better than carrying without a round the chamber, but
yeah, it's effectively better than unchambered, but only slightly, because you a little bit of practice, you can rack around as fast as you can pull the hammer back.
And depending on what holster you're using, because like different places and whatnot, I think in like Israel, like because of how things are, they carry without a round the chamber for their handguns. So everyone is taught the initial of like having to rack it. And some companies have actually developed a thing where it won't fall off easy. So it'd basically be, I think, like you press a button to where it'll let go, but you can push down on the gun so it'll rack the slide, like press a button, or it might just be a friction thing. So it'll rack the slide for you as you're going to draw it. So it's a push down to rack it and then pull up.
Yeah, I've seen some of those where you don't have to push anything to release, but you've got to push past the length of the slide. You have to force it beyond because it's got a stronger grip than the spring.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I appreciate when you get, the show you run. I didn't really count on this. What was your take on the amount of automatic fire they got without reloading?
Not terrible, because
they were doing bursts rather than concentrated feeds, so it's not like the gun is empty in less than 30 seconds.
Yeah, because they did legitimately finesse the trigger, and from the first setup to the next one when they did it, there is a plausibility, like when Bert does hand him a fully fresh mag.
Right. So there's this reload plausibility. It's one of the things, as much as, the choreography and the effects and everything in the John Wick movies are amazing. The story's pretty compelling. But one of the things that I've appreciated is you don't have the infinite magazine.
Yeah.
Every single place you can go through and you can count shots. And every single place where the gun would run dry, you can see him reloading, or there's a gap in the action where you could plausibly fit a reload in.
Yeah.
It's not like, that gun has a maximum of 16 rounds.
For John
he just
Wick,
fired 70 shots nonstop.
For Keanu's character of John Wick, like the reloading's part of the action for him. That's why I loved it for the second movie when he would run it dry and halftime he would chuck it at someone.
Right, and grab another gun off somebody else. But you look at it too, but the reloading is part of the action. Mm-hmm. But there are places in, I think, each of the movies from what I've seen where he's had a gun and he fired enough shots where it would be dry, and he's got the magazine on him. You don't see the reload, but there's a there's a cut in the action, like it's showing another character then,
Yeah.
or something, and he's not firing during that time. It's a
a
plausible
lull,
reload.
it's a lull to where you know that he has to go a set distance, so he would have reloaded most likely in that distance.
Right.
Now,
I mean, even if it's
thing
only 5 to 7 seconds, that's more than sufficient to
Oh, yeah. But
reload and drop the slide.
Here's a really funny thing for the first movie. If you pay attention in the nightclub scene when the first dude who actually shoots at him fires that gun, it's not a Zev custom. I can't remember who the actual thing is for it, but because of it not originally being a blank firing gun, it jams. So you can actually see the failure to eject the stovepipe.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that I was noticing in the show is they weren't running like infinite ammunition. They're running situations where it's kind of out of character to be carrying so little and be so ill prepared. But I love Bert complaining about that. I told him this wouldn't be enough.
Yeah. Told that guy, it's like I told Tweedle it wouldn't be enough, or Twitchell it wouldn't be enough. And it was a Salient Arms International. Yeah, when Krill fires at the guy who's just like, I'm here to babysit a boy, not a drunkard or whatever. Like his first fire, you'll see him fire and he goes and they'll put another shot in there and like another flash, but there's a fucking jam in the pistol, or there's a stovepipe in the pistol. So if you ever watch the first one again, just pay attention for that, Will. I think you get a kick out of it.
Yeah, I do try to look for things like that. So it's
I only noticed it because of somewhere that I had seen it. That they actually brought it up.
It's kind of like him doing the press check on the Kimbers.
Yeah. But yeah, then to actually have like the legitimate jam.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, pull back on the bolt. I did that.
Yeah.
I can see the bolt, but it's stuck. And Bert just wanted to be like, fuck. Because like, it seemed like for a lot of the things when they wanted to cuss at someone, like call him a fucker or an ass or something like that, they called him friend.
Well, I mean, they were trying to.
It was a TV show.
Yeah.
On
It's a made for TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, even Sci-Fi Channel, they try to play that down.
Yeah,
quite a
they
bit.
try to keep a lot. Like you typically only get like a damn or maybe an ass. Maybe very rare like a shit, but you're not gonna get a fuck. But I still just fucking love that. That's just like friend.
Well, I mean, when it's a government agent that can make your life miserable.
More true to character, and I think a lot would have more respect for you.
I still play to the I'm going to be extremely polite, and if I'm dropping any insults in there, they're going to be of a level you're not going to realize you were insulted. Or if you realize you're insulted, you're not going to understand how you were insulted.
Yeah.
I'm sure he said something rude to me, but I don't know what it was.
I'm actually a master at that. I actually turned around and called the girl a disease-ridden whore, and she thanked me for it.
Maybe because she was a disease-ridden whore. She finally realized it.
Well, I just didn't, I said it in a way that...
Just not those specific words.
Wow, apparently the guy who plays Tyler Reed has not been in a lot of movies. He's been mostly in TV shows.
I was actually reading about him when I told you I was looking for the cast list.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually a cyclist from Australia.
Victor Brown?
So I was saying his speech coach clearly did wonders. Because
Well, for him, it says in his thing that he grew up in Warner Robins, Georgia.
really,
Yep.
well then maybe. Where's the thing that I like?
Either way, I think I'm going to call it about here. We've been going on for a while, going a little bit all over the place.
Mm.
That never happens with me around.
Oh, dude. No.
Never.
It's bad, like, for how we are. I'm still surprised last week when it was just me, Tier, and James, and we were talking about Kiss of Death, that we talked about that movie for damn near an hour and we weren't pissed about it. Like, normally it's like if we really hate a movie and we get real nitpicky into it, we can go on for a while. Usually if we like a movie, we go on for like 10, 20 minutes of things we liked about it and then get sidetracked into other shit like you and I did to Guns and whatnot, or like we were for a while where all of us were talking about like bureaucracy and shit like that. But we stayed predominantly on that movie, and it was one we all liked, but we were just like, it's just fucking weird. Had a great cast, you know, Kiss of Death, you got David Caruso, Ving Rhames, freaking Nicolas Cage. I'm missing a couple of, like a whole bunch of others. Michael Rappaport character, you know, he's in it, and his character doesn't die soon enough, like usual.
Mhm.
And just, it's a good movie. It's just, it's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Well,
Like-
I'm a walking rabbit trail as far as
I
getting
highly
off topic.
I
So
highly recommend it and everything. Well, that's why, like I said, it was nice to have someone on here that I could go a little more in depth with the gun thing on instead of just spouting for a while and getting the okay. I don't get that with many people when I'm online.
yeah, I'm not as in depth with them as I'd like to be, but I'm not an absolute novice either.
Well, I have no issue with someone who's an absolute novice. Unless you're like the person who's just like, well, I don't own guns. I don't see why anyone needs to own a gun. We should get rid of the Second Amendment. I'm like, you're retarded.
Yeah, no, I'm sitting here at my rig, and I've got a VP9 right next to me. And why am I sitting in my living room with a VP9? Because you never know when someone's going to break down the front door, right?
On the top of my desk is my G22 with an extended mag on it.
Nice.
And then off to the little side of me is one of my North American, or it's my only North American Arms little 22 Magnum revolver. And I've got a bunch of other stuff in different places and whatnot. Not just here, but I mean in safes, actually.
Right. I don't see. I haven't had the budget to just stash a different gun in every room, kind of thing. But eventually,
I mean, I don't know who that was. Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay, did you like spill something? Because that almost sounded like you might have started to vomit.
Oh no, it was the nod off.
head
Okay.
hitting the mic.
Yes.
I was say, are you on your computer or are you on your phone?
On my phone.
You using that new Bluetooth headset that you bought or no?
No, I used it earlier and then I turned it off because the battery was dying.
Ah, you
But
should have
I
charged
like
it. Yeah, they're not bad.
Oh yeah.
Once you get it set right, you could hear. It's like in the right spot. You actually hear really well, but you're able to hear everything else.
Yes.
I was like, this.
I was using it the other day.
The only place or only time I don't like using it when I'm at the gym for that is when I'm doing chest or anything where I'm going to lie down with my head back around the back of something because it pushes it off my ears. But yeah, we're gonna get out of here because Tier's starting to nod off. We're going in several different directions. Pretty sure Angela's like, we're gonna get in a lane that I want to go down eventually.
Somewhere.
But it's Labor Day. Hope everyone has a good day. If you have to work, hopefully it's easy. If you don't have to work, enjoy the day off. Definitely go to the theater. I don't care. Like, before I go on that, I'm gonna go back over to here to Amazon and say Tremors. Nope. ORS TV series. Okay. The complete DVD thing, there are a few different ones. You can get it anywhere from $12 or like $12.97 to like 30. There's even a thing that's supposed to have the all 7 movie collection plus the series. It's currently unavailable though.
Yeah, but I might have to wishlist that one.
I would honestly say you can probably buy the complete series one or the 6th thing on its own.
I wonder if they've got like all 6 box set.
Oh, they have an all 7 because I've got it.
Or all 7 box set.
Yes, you can actually buy them individually on your own. There's also there's a Blu-ray one for 43, but there's a DVD one for 13.5. We'll do. I don't know why I did that. So,
Well, I used to do the Tremors DVD box set for 13.5 and the TV series for 13. 27
wrong thing.
bucks. You're set for all of them.
If you are in the little side chat in Discord, I just put the 7 movies and Control C, and then here is the TV series.
Yeah, I got the TV series up right now.
I'll say a link to both of them. And that's for Prime as well, if you have Prime.
Oh, I do. You know it, brother.
Yeah, we're gonna call it here. Highly recommend this. So, any words of wisdom to leave with, folks? We'll go with Tier first. All right, looks like that's what we're getting out of Tier. Think you fell asleep on us?
So sometimes my Discord wants to be an ass on my phone, and it just I didn't fall asleep.
Oh my god, that's hysterical, show. I didn't see that one. A factory that makes prosthetic limbs for obese amputees was broken into last night. Police are looking for 2 heavily armed men. Angela, you got any parting words of wisdom besides go to the theater?
Besides go to the theater? No.
Yes. Because I already said that earlier.
Apparently there are 2 Victor. One of them was an Olympic cyclist.
Huh.
And the other one is this actor.
Well, it's like one
from Georgia.
Is one BROWN and the other, which is the actor for this one, is BRO.
Actually, they're both spelled BROWNE.
Oh wow, they probably have different middle names. Will, you got any words of wisdom to leave apart on?
Hey, take it easy. Don't stress about the stuff that's trying to weigh you down. And if you've seen any of the Tremors movies and even moderately enjoyed it, you want to see this TV series. It is so worth it.
We're 2 episodes in and loving this shit.
I just ordered it.
Nice.
What?
Yeah, I'm going to part with if you do own firearms, definitely go out and routinely shoot, especially your carry gun, if you carry constantly. And I do highly recommend that if you can, carry everywhere, because you never know when you may need it. And like a condom, it's exponentially better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it.
And much like a condom, do not store it in your wallet.
It ain't going to fit in your wallet.
I know.
I mean, you can get the... I've got one, the little Life Track single shot 22 Magnum Derringers that are about the size of a credit card, but they're about as thick as a cell phone.
Right. I want to get one of those. I am going to get one of those just to have a, I can get one of those and something that works well as like in an ankle holster, just to have a backup gun and a backup gun.
Honestly, dude, we'll talk more about this off stream because we're going to call it here, and I'll let you know my personal thoughts on that.
All right.
All right. So have a good one, folks. We're going to call it here.